The following program was produced by an independent community producer. The opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of the ECAT staff or board of directors.
Good afternoon and welcome once again to another edition of Service Matters, a weekly radio show that talks about the good things that are happening in local communities and beyond. We also talk about the good things that people do, such as our guests that join us today. As we reach out and we make dreams real for many folks out there that may be very much in need. I certainly would like to welcome each and every one of you. I'm Dave Clifton, happy to be your host. You're listening to WPRO, the voice of Southern New England. We are indeed a Cumulus station. You can hear us on AM 630 or FM 99.7. And of course, today, our topic of discussion is going to be music, men's minds. You're going to hear an awful lot about how important that is. We're also going to hear from ADRAG, Alzheimer's/Dementia Rotary Action Group. And folks, let's meet our guests. And we're going to go around. We have 7 people who have contacted us on Zoom. I'm at the TV station, ECAT, Eastern Community Access Television. And of course, our radio station is located and based out in Providence, Rhode Island, the Ocean State. But we have a lot of interesting people, and I think we all have something in common. And guess what that is, folks? It's people helping people and doing what we can to help others. And I think you're going to find out today that this is an extraordinary broadcast and cablecast that you're going to enjoy because it's people stepping up to do what they can to help others out in their town or city, regardless of where they're located. Interesting that today we have somebody from Canada. We also have a couple of people from Los Angeles, California. We have somebody from Seattle, Washington. Somebody will be calling in from Washington State. We have someone here from North Carolina, and of course, Massachusetts and Rhode Island will be represented. And we're excited about it. My name again is Dave Clifton. I'm so happy and thrilled to be able to host this show that we're going to share with many, many others. I'm going to start with you, Carol. Tell us who you are, what your role is, and of course, where you're from.
I'm from Los Angeles. I'm Carol Rosenstein of Music Men's Minds. And our story is precious. We have discovered that music is medicine for the mind. This happened with my darling husband, Erwin, suffering from Parkinson's dementia, having problem with medication. And it seemed like playing the piano was a replacement for the pill that he couldn't take anymore. And so on a lark, I said, we'll collect a few like-minded souls to jam and make music together. And by George, the Fifth Dementia Band and Music Men's Minds was born 10 years ago, August the 4th, 1914. And here we are touching thousands of people globally. Thank you to Rotary International Club partners as we move music groups around the world, finding seniors with neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, dementia, traumatic brain injury, stroke, and PTSD, and everybody needing some mental wellness. Come on and join our troops as we move music around the world to be music as medicine for the mind.
Hallelujah. Yes, if you just joined us, folks, we're talking about music, men's minds. And we're going to stop over at John Cantor. He also is zoomed in from Los Angeles. He has the title of Executive Director of Music Men's Minds. John, thank you for joining us on the air.
My pleasure to be here. It was about 2.5. Well, actually, it's right before the pandemic when I was introduced to Music Men's Mind. So I thought it was just fabulous. I wept the first time I saw it. I saw people that are not used to being able to express themselves and to be creative, and to be in social situations and sing together, just have the most marvelous time. And the second thought I had was, this is public health. This has to go everywhere. This is the cheapest, most available kind of thing for people who are having struggles later in their life, for them and their caregivers and the families who love them, to get together and participate in music and have a bridge to their soul, their creative soul, like they've lost completely. So we are now probably the only organization working with city, local, national governments to make this a public health imperative, where we can take this into communities who have historically been left behind by every new paradigm in health and wellness, and have people together and impact the health and the happiness of the families there, and also for the fiscal benefit of the community. Because if you're happier, you have less stress, you have less distress in your life, you're not going to the emergency room, you're not calling the EMTs, and all of a sudden your community is saving tons of money just because you are singing together.
Well said. And as Music Men's Minds continues to rock and roll, there's no doubt in a lot of people's minds that music is medicine. Let's jump over to the gentleman who's chairing the Rotary Action Group called ADRAG. Tell us about what ADRAG means, Bill. And of course, Music Men's Minds is one of the resource partners. Bill, it's good to see you again. It's also great to know that one of my classmates, both Bill and I served as governors the same year, 2007, 2008. Thank you for joining us, Bill.
Past District Governor and radio and TV host Dave Clifton, thank you so much for inviting me today. I'm really excited to be on this program with Carol Rosenstein, who, when you listen to her talk, you know her enthusiasm is just infectious. She certainly endured herself to us during the period that we were getting to know them and understanding how magical music is. Research that we had done through scientific research had already pointed us in that direction, but not near the level that Carol helped us understand how much music could help the patients and the caregivers. So Alzheimer's Dementia Rotary Action Group is one of the 26 Rotary Action Groups that Rotary International recognizes for each cause that they represent. And we represent finding a cure or prevention for Alzheimer's and dementia. So we have 5 resource partners. Music Men's Mind comes to mind all the time. Cure Alzheimer's Fund, the CART Fund, the Coins for Alzheimer's Research Trust, Rotarians Easing Problems of Dementia that came to us out of the UK, and the Alzheimer's Association, who raises millions of dollars but keeps a hotline open for any individual that needs to know more about how you fight this disease. Thank you so very much for inviting me today.
Bill, it's nice for us to have you here, and what an important role ADRAG plays, especially around the Rotary world. We're going to take a short break. I'm Dave Clifton, and of course, today we're talking about music and the effect that it has on lots of folks out there that are fighting against a horrific disease and dementia. Hurry back. I'm Dave Clifton.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, residents of Easton, friends and neighbors. This is Bill Ames, co-host with Priscilla Almquist Olson of the Film Connection. On ECAT now for over 20 years. We're very proud of that. And we like to interview guests from Easton who have been involved in the film business, actors, producers. We're very fortunate today to have a producer of a film.
Oh, I didn't see you there.
Sick of all the new shows and movies dominating pop culture?
Well, have no fear, because Old Time Movie and Old Time TV are here, where we like to add our own flair.
There's a truck out front, and if we could just get the keys.
Man, are you crazy? Are you out of your mind? Those are flesh-eating zombies. They upended our car, okay? We're lucky to be alive, especially Joe. I had to pull him out of the trunk, for crying out loud.
It's been a long day.
Also, make sure to check out the Radiocast, our accompanying podcast where we talk about what we've watched.
There was a lot of moments of just Mac on the raft going down the river, just internal monologuing over and over and over.
We show the classics and nothing but the classics. Well, except for the weird ones. Check us out on all our channels as well as our YouTube. You want to get involved in an exciting race around historic Northeaston? Apply to be on Expedition Easton, a local version of the amazing race produced by ECAT. This summer, 6 pairs, 12 contestants, will get the chance to compete for the grand prize. All ages are welcome, but each pair must have one member over 18 years old. Think you got what it takes to complete the expedition? Email info@eastoncat.org or call us at 508-230-7200. Casting has begun. Dates are set for June 22nd, 23rd, 29th, and 30th.
Welcome back to another segment of Service Matters. Yes, as we have been doing for the past 15 years, talking about good things that are happening around the world. And of course, the world's gotten a little crazy. Let's face it, we want to do the best we can to keep things positive. And I couldn't think of a more positive thing that's happening. Started out in Los Angeles, California, and it's called Music Men's Minds. And of course, we have another guest that just joined us, and I'm going to ask the founder of Music Men's Minds to introduce her. And we thank her so much for joining us here on WPRO. We not only have a listening audience, but we also have a viewing audience here on ECAT, Eastern Community Access Television. Go ahead, Carol.
Thank you, Dave. Hello to Dr. Susan DuPree. Thank you for coming onto this platform today. I met Susan, as I did Bonnie, during COVID every Saturday morning as part of the International Fellowship of Rotarian Musicians, who we partner as well. And I was blessed to meet these two wonderful females, ladies, big souls, to help us move Music Men's Minds globally. Susan, thank you for coming today. Thank you for the work you're doing. You're one of our newer members, but boy, oh boy, see Susan go. Hello, Susan. Thank you, Dave.
And I love that smile on Susie's face, no doubt about it. Let's go to Bonnie Sirower. She also is a past district governor. A few folks out there that are watching and listening maybe have that question, what is Rotary? It's a worldwide organization of men and women, business and professional people united together to serve. Its motto is service above self. And of course, its mission is to do good in the community and to reach beyond to do good in the world. Music Men's Mind is doing just that. Bonnie, thank you so much for joining us. You also are a past district governor.
Yes, thank you, Dave, for having me on. I am past district governor of District 7490 in northeastern New Jersey. And as Carol said, Susan and Carol and I met through the International Fellowship of Rotarian Musicians Virtual World Choir. We had 22 people in 12 countries, and we sang every Saturday. And I became intrigued by what Carol was doing with Music Men's Minds. And once she found out I had a background in fundraising, she was rather delighted and asked me to be part of the global committee. So for a while, what I did was I worked with some of the other groups. I worked with a group in Mumbai to help get them district designated funding for their Smiling Souls group. And they were working with seniors on Zoom to have a karaoke Bollywood every other week, and we helped them get some funding for that. Carol wanted us to reach out to the Alzheimer's Foundation and get some kind of liaison there. We reached out to them. Once things started settling down after the pandemic, John Fitzgerald invented drum circles, or brought drum circles, where you have all of the seniors, or whichever group you're using, bring a variety of percussion instruments. And we have a facilitator who leads them through scheduled therapeutic and social exercises. I really liked that idea and suggested to the Alzheimer's Foundation that at their walk, which will be held in September this year, they do a rhythmic exercise to start out. And I got 4 Rotary clubs to help me fund it. And they were the basis of our starting. Well, that went really, really well, even though we were almost supplanted by the politicians making campaign speeches. But we decided we would like to start in our own area. We got a $2,000 grant from the International Fellowship of Rotarian Musicians. Thank you, Susan, for helping with that. And we bought almost 100 instruments and started outreach to senior centers in our area. We started in Fairlawn in November of 2022. We had 35 people. We are still getting the same 35 people every month, a year and a half later. We just had one last week. But we expanded and expanded. We had last October a training session at William Patterson University, and you will meet Michael Rudolph, who is also in that. We had 17 of us who were certified. 3 of those were from Bergen County, our local county. They are now conducting Music Men's Minds related drum circles in all 10 of the senior centers. We have now 9 or 10 Rotary clubs that are running monthly, mostly monthly, drum circles. Some are running 2 a month, some in senior centers. We are branching out to include veterans with PTSD. We are going to be holding an intergenerational one outdoors on June 21st, which is International Music Day. And at both PETS, our recent PETS, and our recent district conference, I picked up a lot of other people who are interested in starting drum circles in their communities. So we look for people who would like to do this. It doesn't really cost a lot because you can just use instruments that you can make in your kitchen. And if I can be a kind of a intro to Michael Rudolph. Michael, I met years ago, but he is in the Wayne Rotary. And I went to make a presentation to the Wayne Rotary about this. And I'll let Michael fill you in on what happened from there.
Go ahead, Mike.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for having me. For most of my adult life, I've been involved in community service, much of it devoted to senior citizens. When my parents got into their 80s and other family members, I changed the focus of my law practice to elder law. As Bonnie said, I learned about Music Men's Minds when she came to our club, told us about it, and Bonnie can sell anything to anybody. I was hooked on all of this before I even went to the website. But when I went to the Music Men's Minds website, there were tears in my eyes, and I knew that this is something I really wanted to do, and I was most interested in drum circles. So I was one of the Rotarians last year that became certified. I quickly realized that learning how to lead a drum circle does not come with a list of clients or a plan on how to score a gig. I had to figure out my own way to drum up business. Excuse the pun, drum up business. My Rotary Club is located in Wayne, New Jersey, a town with about 54,000 people. It also has 20 facilities for senior citizens, nursing homes, assisted living, senior housing, memory care, and about 30 houses of worship and other places for kids. The question was, where do you begin with so much to choose from? So what I did was I contacted facilities that were, each one of them had something different. and each one of them had someone in the administration that I knew a little bit so that I would start. And I knew that I had to have an opening line that would break the ice. And I came up with, do you know what a drum circle is? Anybody who is familiar with drum circles is always interested in talking. And anybody who doesn't know what a drum circle is intrigued by the term, and they want to hear more. Everyone that I have spoken to is interested. Every place that we have presented wants us to come back. So, for example, my wife goes to a daycare center. I'm welcome there to present a drum circle anytime I want, and we've done 5 of them already. The nursing home where our Rotary Club entertains residents with our Christmas in July party that started in 1992 has booked a second event. One of the assisted living facilities is a corporate member of our Rotary Club, and they've told us that they want to participate. So we did a drum circle there a few weeks ago, and they told me that everyone is screaming for us to come back. And they want to help us spread the word through the community. They don't know it yet, but one of the things I'm hoping they'll do is to transport the instruments around. It's another story. Last month, I did a drum circle for the building that I live in. We're in an active adult community. There are 10 buildings, 755 units. And we did a drum circle as part of another event. Within 3 days, people were calling, and the bottom line now is that the management company has approved the formation of a drum circle club. There are 34 people that have signed up already, and they're still coming in. All we have to do now is figure out which day it's going to be and how often it's going to be.
Well, thank you, Mike. Rudolph, we're going to have to take another short break for these important messages. You're listening to WPRO, the voice of Southern New England, and thank you so much. ECAT, Eastern Community Access Television, hurry back.
At ECAT, we're here to keep you connected and involved in the community. On ECAT, you can explore the town with Gail Devins.
Hello, I'm Gail Devins, and welcome to our show, Discover Easton.
Tell your story with Harrison Young on Topic Time.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Topic Time with Harrison Young on
Learn something new with the Ames Free Library. Relax with the Ron Van Dam Show.
Ron Van Dam Show, that's who I am. I'm Ron Van Dam. Thank you so much.
Check in on the latest in live town meetings.
2022 Select Board meeting, and Happy New Year.
Stay up to date with Oliver Ames High School news and live sports.
Tiger Talk.
Share your thoughts on the Community Forum.
Welcome to Community Forum.
And listen to some exciting new music. So stay connected with Easton Community Access Television.
Hey, are you a fan of history? If so, come for a adventure with me, your host Drew Daugherty, as we explore some of the most impactful events of all time. We talk about U.S. history. These events led up to the creation of the First Continental Congress. World history. The Allied forces consist of France, the United Kingdom, Russia, Japan, and Italy, and influential figures. The legacy of Martin Luther King is one of selflessness, and he never stopped believing in the equal and free America. You'll get my takes and opinions, so come along for an adventure on Drew's Venture History TV. Check us out between your recently scheduled programming as well as on YouTube. Thank you.
In 2023, Easton is a tight-knit community of 25,000 people. But with the hustle and bustle of modern life, it's easy to forget our past. A time when Easton's population was 6,000.
Everybody knew who everybody was.
And there was respect.
There was respect for everyone.
When kids enjoyed great freedom and independence.
Everybody was poor at today's standards. But we all were in the same boat, and we enjoyed life.
So join me, Priscilla Almquist Olson, as I explore what makes Easton so very special with some of its lifetime residents.
I think Easton has so much to offer, and if you're living in a community, you have to know it.
Watch Growing Up in Easton Tuesdays at 7 p.m. and Friday at 9 p.m. See you then.
Welcome back to another segment of Service Matters. And as we said earlier, we like to talk about good things that are happening. And the topic of discussion today is Music Men's Minds. And it's truly amazing the progress Carol Rosenstein has made as the founder of this terrific nonprofit organization. Right now, we're going to hear from Dr. Joyce Shaffer, followed by Dr. Ann Fanning. And then Susie, we're going to give you an opportunity to have your smiling face talk about some good things that are happening with this organization, which is hopefully someday will be scattered around the world. Dr. Joyce Shaffer writes books and does a terrific job with it, but she has a soft spot in her heart for Music Men's Minds. She's going to be chatting with us from Seattle, Washington. Dr. Joyce, thank you so much for joining us today.
It's a gift to be part of this Music Men's Minds family. I cannot tell you how valuable it is. And I actually know it from the research realm because I write peer-reviewed scientific articles on the value of just simply hearing music, even in utero and across the entire lifespan. So hearing music and then the increased value if you're actually making music is remarkable. So for me, it's such a passion to read and write about how we can improve brain function with things like music. It's reading and writing that actually is better than food. I mean, you know, it's also sometimes better than sleep, but
Anyways, Doctor, I know a lot of things have happened, and you've had the opportunity to write lots of books about things that people need to hear. What was your latest book?
My latest book is in production, and it has to do with how we can use artificial intelligence to increase the efficiency, the fine details, and the global reach of how we can bring the benefits of music to everyone, to more people on the globe, because we have good science coming in showing that there's a decrease in dementia around the world, but there's an increase in centenarians. We need to be sure that we are providing the kind of influence that will help build better brains for them. And people really want to do what is fun, free, easy, portable, culturally adaptable. How does that, I mean, music is right in that ballpark.
Certainly is. And thank you so much for joining us on the air today. Let's go to Dr. Ann Fanning. They say she's from another country, but I almost consider Canada to be part of the United States of America. I thank you so much for joining us today. And you probably have some good news about getting Music Men's Minds started in your own country.
Thanks, Dave, and it's a pleasure to be here. Yes, we in Canada heard about the successes of the LA group, and I personally heard about it through a friend who developed dementia as he aged and was inspired by how important that music activity became in the latter years of his life. And almost as a result of that, I gathered around me a few people who were interested, and we created a society incorporated in September 2023. And we've been operating weekly ever since at a local Anglican church, a lovely neighborhood place near the university with the most welcoming of pastors. and we have used their pews for our singing sessions. We have had support from the local Rotary to hire musicians to guide us. And we have made a partnership with that Anglican church and Reverend Maddie, who is our hostess, and succeeded in getting some grant money from the Anglicans as well. So we're still going strong. We increase by 2 or 3 members every week, and it's just word of mouth. There's no question that everybody walks out of that morning singing session feeling better by miles than when they came in. And that includes everybody, the folks with some memory, cognitive problems, and their supporters.
Absolutely terrific. I just want you folks to know, as my guest today, that we broke a record. I've been doing this show for 15 years. This is the first time I've had 9 people on the air with me. So we got an awful lot to talk about. Susie, what have you got to say about Music Men's Minds?
Well, first of all, thank you, Dave, for putting this panel together and for having me join you. I do apologize for being a little late, but I was at a doctor's appointment. And now I get to talk about the really good stuff. First of all, a little background. I'm a retired clinical psychologist with a musical background, lifelong, as a singer of classical music and particularly of regional opera. And in Rotary, I at one point led the International Fellowship of Rotarian Musicians, and that's where I learned about carol and music men's minds. So what is happening in the state of Washington? I happen to live in Vancouver, Washington, but a little background. The first band created in collaboration with Rotary was in Vashon Island, Washington Rotary Club, and they still have their active Island Rockers, a sing-along band. Then we also had a presence in Olympia, Puyallup, Washington, and Kirkland. And guess what? The most recent one is here in Vancouver. And I want to let you know what and how are we doing this? It's all about connecting and networking. And I want you to imagine a wheel, like the Rotary wheel, where MMM is in the center. And going out on the spokes are all these organizations that are helping us to put a program together, and more than one program. And the programs that we started with in December of 2023, it was the first sing-along with a piano at the Senior Center, a CDM Caregiving Services, and Hope Dementia, another community outfit is that has memory care services, is one that I'd volunteer for. And there's the start of our community presence. I'd like to announce now that our first drum circle, Bonnie Sirower, is going to start in September of this year. I just interviewed and have hired a drum circle facilitator with years and years of experience, all the instruments you would ever want to have, my percussives, and a wide range of groups, including the Tri-Valley Evening Rotary in California, my own club, who's donated some money to make this happen, at the Family of Christ Lutheran Church. Full facility, full videos, full microphones, and a willing group of people who have experience in working with, hold on to your hat, nursing homes, memory care centers, the Furstenberg Senior Center, and importantly, the Commission on Aging. And I could go on and on about the interest that we have acquired, but I'd like to give my segue to John Kander, if you haven't spoken yet, John, because John has set up some connections to the state authority, not just the county and city of Vancouver, Clark County, but of the state, with Governor Inslee making connections to social service, public health, and probably a couple of other things that I haven't yet mentioned. So I'd like to hand this over to John Kander.
Well, just briefly, I met Jay Inslee a week ago and told him about Music Man's Minds. He was fascinated. He said, call my office. We'll connect you with the appropriate people. And next week, I'll be Zooming with his senior health deputy on elder affairs. Her name is Amber Leader. She's quite an accomplished woman, and she's very excited to talk to us. So maybe we'll have another beachhead in another state, because it is our program now to make this a very, very public thing and get buy-in from the local and state and national governments, because it is only in their interest to do so. And believe me, just like all of you, when you talk to these people and they hear what it is we're doing, they get it. And they realize that part of their job is to bring these kinds of operations and services to their constituents and to their senior constituents. And there is certainly precious else they can do as inexpensive, as beautiful, as wide-ranging as this, because it's all in the community spirit, bringing people together to express themselves in ways they haven't been able to do. So it's hand in hand. We should go hand in hand with the authorities. This should be a very much public sector, private sector partnership.
Thank you
And
very
let
much,
the
John,
authority-
and also thank you very much, Susie. We're going to have to take another short break, and we'll come back to you, Dr. Joyce. And we're also going to hear from the founder. Yes, she's a CNN hero, and yes, she helped get this started. And it's going to be something that we're all going to be very proud of as it spreads around the world. So let's take this final time out to listen to these important messages. You're listening to WPRO, the voice of Southern New England.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of For the Love of Words.
After a 3-year hiatus, join me, John Holgerson, and
Priscilla Almquist Olson,
as we interview poets and musicians.
Could you give the audience a little summary of your background as a child?
When I turned 7 or so, we were car bombed. That stuck out.
And have them share their love of words.
Sometimes I wonder, do you ever think of me?
A thin broth of moonlight caught in the trees spreads across the garden brush, so one side of every stick shimmers while the other sides melt into one another, a mass grave of cherry, pear, and pine.
For the Love of Words at 7 p.m. on Thursdays.
There's a storm.
Join me, Priscilla Almquist Olson, to explore the town of Easton and its interesting, engaging, ordinary, and extraordinary people, and meet a smorgasbord of guests, including artists, authors, musicians, business owners, community organizations, clergy, local leaders, etc., etc., etc. Community Forum at 3 p.m. on Thursdays and 1:30 p.m. on Saturdays. See you then.
Welcome back to the final segment of Service Matters. What a terrific show this has been. Talking about good things that are happening. There are many people out there that have asked me that question, what is Music Men's Minds? And I always remind them about someone who couldn't remember his family members' names, but he sat down at a piano and he played a half a dozen songs by memory. That sound, how it affects the brain. I think it was Dr. Rudy Tanzi who lives here in the Providence, Rhode Island area, but he works out of the Mass General Hospital here in New England. And he's a guy that was educated at Harvard University over in Cambridge, Mass. And he's a guy that provides whatever support he can to Music Men's Minds. Carol, congratulations on being nominated a couple of different times as a CNN hero. I haven't watched CNN since you were nominated, but I'll tell you what a great selection that was. And I know that the question comes up quite often. Music Men's Minds and Rotary International Club's global initiative. Tell us about it.
We are so deeply grateful to Rotary International Clubs for partnering Music Men's Minds. We now have the access of using Rotarians around the world to be our volunteers to start in-person music groups in their clubs, going into their neighborhoods. Music Men's Minds was honored on Monday of this week as an invitation that came from our district governor, Makiko Nakasone, District 5280, invited us to make music to welcome Rotary International President Gordon McAnally and his wife, Heather. And so in the Crystal Ballroom of the Beverly Hills Elegant Hotel, our Fifth Dementia stole the hearts of 400 guests on their feet, singing and waving happily as they joined in singing Sweet Caroline. So we know that President McAnally knows all about Music Men's Minds and our mental wellness initiative that we share. We are starting in Japan. We have many clubs around the world. We have over 50 in-person music groups taking music in all its forms around the world to seniors with our conditions. We're starting in Japan. I've been invited as a guest of honor in January as they open Music Men's Minds in Tokyo. And by 2025, they'll be going national. We have Tommy Sands, a world-renowned musician in Ireland, who's blessed Music Men's Minds to come into his country as we partner him. And we're hoping for Roots to start in, it's not Ireland, it's Scotland, where Gordon McAnally comes from. Yes. So again, Music Men's Minds is on its way to be a household name. And yes, Dave, what a pleasure to have found something so simple and so inexpensive as music, to be able to move music around the world, touching everybody, as music is medicine for the mind. Whether you have a diagnosis or you don't, or you're just blue or warm, let's sing together. Let's make music together. Change your mood, change your disposition, change your autoimmune system, change who you are into somebody that is so happy and so much more functional, all because of the music that they are making under the umbrella of Rotary International Clubs and Music Men's Minds.
Thank you so much, Carol. And I'd like to thank each and every one of you for joining us today. I appreciate the fact that you shared your time, your talent, your ideas, your resources, and in many cases, your funds to make dreams real for many folks out there that may be in need. Whether it's someone who has Alzheimer's or some form of dementia, how important it is for all of us to step up to do what we can to help others. And I'm sure the folks out there watching or listening to this radio broadcast, you may have known someone that has one of these horrific diseases. Bill Shillito, what have you got to say about Music Men's Minds?
what a wonderful addition, what enthusiasm Carol and her group brings to our Alzheimer's Dementia Rotary Action Group and our activity, all of our activities. It's just such a wonderful addition to our team that we're blessed to have you, Carol.
Thank you.
I'd like to send out a thank you to our executive producer back in Providence, Brett Ferruccio. I certainly thank certainly Adam Carrero here at the TV studio. And folks out there that are watching or maybe listening to this broadcast, keep in the back of your mind that the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of helping others, just like the folks that join us today on this show. I say to each and every one of you out there, go forth to serve, do it with a smile on your face. And folks, when you get a chance, look up Music Men's Minds. Carol, maybe you or John Kander can mention the webpage.
musicmensminds.org. Simple as that. You'll see a lot of testimonials. You'll see a lot of the groups that we have. You'll see a lot of the research behind it. And I think you'll get excited about the kind of joy and wellness we bring to so many people.
A big thank you to all of you folks for joining us today, and continue to meet on a monthly basis with Carol and John to plan and prepare and to increase the membership, because I'll tell you something, it was Dr. Tanzi who said that music is working. It's the cheapest medicine that we can buy. Thank you all for joining us, and have a terrific weekend.